Hey there, nerds. Welcome back. It's your boys back here with another episode. You smell that in the air? You smell the scent of basicness coming about because it's pumpkin
Basic.
season.
It is, yes.
It's shitty horror movies are coming out. Football is back. Hockey is back. Just there's a lot going on now, buddy. But I appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to us, these two studs we got going here, these two stallions.
Yes, absolutely.
I am joined here by Seth, the legend Slykehouse. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. This is my one night off this week, so
Wow, I appreciate you spending it with me, buddy.
I had to come in last night. I got another promotion at work recently, so I am like an actual lead now.
There you go.
And I have like people under me.
Now they're paying you more money. That's
yes.
Okay. That's the only acceptable course of action.
They treat your boy well. I'm doing pretty good there.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So last night, we had a situation I had to go in.
Handle that shit.
Yeah, but next week I have a whole vacation, so I'm in the process of deciding what I want to jump into next week.
All right, so is it a staycation?
Yes, it is.
I love a good staycation.
Yeah,
nothing makes me happier than a staycation.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna jump into 13 Sentinels.
What is that?
And it's a Vanillaware game, and everyone raves about this 13 Sentinels game, and I have yet to play it. And I found a copy of it the other day, just sitting on a shelf at GameStop, and it's pretty hard to find. And it was actually on clearance. It was half off, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna grab it," But everyone raves about the story in the game and how incredible it is. But they also almost sold me No More Heroes like 2 days early.
Oh.
Because No More Heroes 3 came out on PlayStation 5 this week, and it was sitting on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I'm going to grab this. But when they rang it out, it turned out they wouldn't sell it to me.
They're like, yeah, can't do that.
Yeah. I was like, crap.
That could be a huge issue.
Caught me. Yeah.
Do you remember when we worked retail and that was like the huge thing, like whatever you do, don't sell a game early?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. And I remember also one time the owners took a game home early and played it. So I was like, all right, so the rules just don't apply to you, huh?
Yeah, full confession. When Halo 4 came out, I definitely took a copy home and played it. I only played the campaign. I didn't go online. But I also definitely there was one time they made us stay open during a fucking hurricane, and people were coming in to buy Assassin's Creed because it was coming out the next day, but everything was going to be shut down. So I was like, yo, just whatever you do, don't go online. So if you're going to play this, fucking shut your Xbox off or the Wi-Fi off. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Because what did I give a fuck? I was fucking 21 years old. I didn't give a fuck.
It's funny because I think that was the point in my life where I played video games the least, because I was just around them constantly and I had no desire to play games whatsoever.
Wow, so you went through the working retail depression.
Yeah. I was in the game culture, totally immersed with it, right? But I didn't play much, if at all. I remember playing I think Tales of Xillia around that time.
That's probably what broke you, actually.
No, I love Tales of Xillia, but I remember that was the point in my life where I was obsessed with watching Supernatural.
Oh god.
So yeah, I would just have Supernatural on that TV at the store all day long. I was just binging Supernatural. That was in the Netflix glory days.
Yeah, I remember the Netflix glory days. When Netflix first came to console, I remember I turned on my Xbox. This is when I was an Xbox guy, and I get on my Xbox Live account, and I'm like, all right, let's play some Halo 3. And you literally fucking everyone on my fucking friends list Netflix. I'm like, the fuck, go get what the fuck is this? It's just like it used to infuriate me, dude. Because like
I remember the Xbox console was known as like the Netflix console for a long
yeah,
time because everyone was watching Netflix on
it
it.
was fucking it was and then like I used to be like, wow, I don't know how the fuck you would ever be able to do that. And then like remember when Netflix was handing out that 30-day free trial like the first time, and
No, I don't remember that.
yeah, they were giving out like free trials basically. So I remember when I did it, I watched like a disgusting amount of Top Gear, uh, fucking Law and Order SVU. I fell into the trap. Like all I was doing was watching Netflix for like a month, and it was like,
I
ugh.
I do remember when Netflix took South Park off though. And to me that was like the first nail in the
Excuse me.
coffin for Netflix. I was like,
Yeah. See, weird thing about Netflix, I don't really watch it, but I recently been watching Ed. Like, you remember I was talking about Edge Runners, how much I enjoyed it.
mm-hmm,
I finished Edge Runners and fucking loved it. So like, that's literally probably the first time I like sat down and actually watched something on Netflix in a hot minute.
mm-hmm.
Um, I watched another movie on Netflix. Ironically, it was called Nocturnal Animals. Real good movie. It's got Amy
Okay.
Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal. The story is
Wow.
like he's like a novelist, and he sends his ex-wife, which is Amy Adams, like a copy of the novel he's gonna print, and it's like a super fucked up story. And then like it plays out, um, like they play it out live action, and then like he dedicates it to her, and like it doesn't make sense why it dedicates it. He dedicates it to her until like the end of the movie, where like this guy's life is like basically after she like left him and like
Mm-hmm.
divorced him, also aborted his kid, like so it's completely ruined his life. And then like she said he wouldn't ever work out as a writer, so he basically writes this like fucking masterpiece, dedicates it to her, and then and then like it's wild. Like it's a good movie, would recommend. So been doing that on Netflix, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
I've been playing a disgusting amount of Cyberpunk. Like,
I also went down that rabbit hole.
dude, like it got like I can't believe how badly like it got it took back into me, and I'm like done with the main story. I'm just doing like literally every side quest I can because I just want to play more
Oh, okay.
Cyberpunk.
Excellent. So you did beat the main story.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so did I. Just like last Sunday.
Now, where did you take corporal route? Were you a nomad?
I was a nomad.
I was also a nomad.
I was a nomad, but I made the wrong decisions in the end, and I got an ending that I didn't want. So I think I might go back and make some different decisions.
I have save files for all three endings you can get. So because I literally went back got the I guess bad ending, quote unquote, and then I went and got like the canon ending. So I enjoyed it though. The only thing I really hate about that game is V's voice actor sucks.
I don't know how you feel, but I was actually a little disappointed with how the story went at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I wish it was more fleshed out. Like, there's stuff that like they allude to, and like even with the decisions you have to make. Like, I feel like the consequences aren't like dire. Like I just feel like like
Well,
I almost got like some Mass Effect 3 energy where like decisions like these don't necessarily like matter, but
I don't know. I felt like there was no reason to make the ending that bleak. It just seemed like a little unnecessary to me.
yeah. I,
But I did want to follow up with our conversation last week where I talked about the driving
yeah.
and how much I hated it.
Hmm.
Well, one of the things was that I went on to realize that I had altered my file in the game
Oh.
to fix the driving when the game launched.
Uh-huh.
So I had to actually clear my entire like documents folder for Cyberpunk and then reinstall it on my PC.
Ah.
Yeah,
That correct the issue.
it did, and now the driving is significantly better than it was.
Yes.
Still not
Um
where I would like it, but it's
yeah.
significantly better.
My other gripe with the game is, and maybe this is just a me thing, like there are some side quests I fucking loved.
Yeah.
And then, but there are other side quests where like I feel like they're just. I mean, maybe they are just there to be there, but like certain side quests, like oh, go fetch this done. Like, and I feel like this game does such a really good job of like setting up the world, and like I really like spending time in Night City,
Mm-hmm.
and like the characters you meet, and just like the shit you run into, where like I don't know, maybe this is like a CG Project Red like staple, but I feel like when I played The Witcher, you take a side quest and it take you on this little journey. It was like pulling a string, and you just kept pulling, kept pulling, kept pulling,
Yeah,
and
the side quests were as good as the story mode.
yeah, like I feel like they're really fleshed out like side quests, and then like in Cyberpunk, there are some that are fleshed out. I will definitely say
Mm-hmm.
that, but like I feel like others that are really interesting like aren't. Like there's one like serial killer one that I really liked, and
Oh yeah, with River.
yeah, like that I
That was
enjoyed.
sweet. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, so but there are others that are just kind of dumb, and then like there are other ones that just like are I just didn't like the Cyber Psycho one. I did all those. um,
You weren't a fan of the Cyber Psycho?
I just felt like it got repetitive for me. Like it was like, oh, go find this. All right, don't make sure you don't kill him. Um, so like that kind of sucked. But and the other one the one side quest I was really enjoying was the Delamain one, where the
Okay.
automated car. But
Yeah.
like if mine's glitched and like I ended up failing a mission because like it wouldn't let me return the car because the door wouldn't open, so I failed and it glitched. And it still to
Oh,
this day hasn't let me like reach out. Like there's nothing I can do. I just failed that side quest and it sucks because I
that
really
sucks.
enjoyed that one. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'm hoping we get a new game plus soon because I want to go back through and maybe get the platinum, but like I also don't want to just like start a new game without all my like data. Like I want to be able to like keep my levels and my perks and shit like that.
Well,
I got the Sandevistan though in the game. I have that perk or that
um,
cyberware.
yeah, I got that too. It isn't really. It's not as powerful as Edge Runners makes it out to be,
Yeah.
though, is it?
No. Well, there's
It was
different
kind of
ones.
display
Did you
with.
get the specific one? I got the Warp Dancer one.
Let me look right now. I actually have the game open right now. It's in Devastan. You can't actually look at what you have. I don't think. But right now I have one that allows the time to slow down when you're shooting and sliding.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of
I
bad.
used
But
it,
I don't
wasn't a fan, and then went back to my like maxed out hacking.
see. I went all reflex and I just cut people out with my katana.
Uh,
I cut people down.
no, my guy's like a hybrid. He's like some athletics, some reflexes, but then like my hacking's top tier, and then but I also have the gorilla arms in case I got to punch a man in the mouth. But
The gorilla arms are awesome, especially
yeah,
because they raise your strength by 2. I thought that
yeah,
was really cool. Um,
S-
and the other thing that I love is the ability to get like a double jump or a charge jump.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool addition.
Yeah, I like that because it makes all the stealth missions really easy, and then
Yeah,
yeah. So now that we're on the topic of CD Projekt, nice segue. Do you feel, and to be honest, your opinion here? I know
yeah,
we know they famously fumbled the ball hard with the launch
right,
of Cyberpunk, like they fucked up.
right.
But I told you before we started the podcast, like I feel as though they're like the one company that seems to have gotten like how to how to maximize their IP and put you know and put like shows on TV and done it correctly where you're not like what the fuck, because if you look
Mm-hmm.
at the Netflix Witcher show, that's really well received. People fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
The anime for Cyberpunk is overall really well received. Like people, I haven't met anybody who really hated Edge Runners except my buddy Adam didn't like the end with a certain character, but whatever. But overall, he enjoyed the show, and
Right.
then you have to start contrast like a company like Capcom where they had the Resident Evil Netflix show, and that's a fucking turd, or even like something like Cowboy Bebop that went to Netflix as a live action show, just a hot, steamy turd.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how is it that CD Projekt is able to put their IP in a position where, like, I don't like, are they a big company now? Do we consider them one of the big boys?
I would imagine you could
Yeah,
consider
they're in
CD
big boy
Projekt a big
territory now.
company. I would say so.
Yeah, so like how do they get all that so right? Even like Cyberpunk, which they fucked up in the beginning. Look at it now. Like how
Yeah.
do they continue to just get it right? And I think like they're back in my good graces. I think like they've gone back to like setting the standard in the industry for like these types of games, like open world RPGs and with that are narrative driven. Like I still think they're the fucking gold standard,
Yeah.
even with their fuck up.
I would agree. And the thing is, though, is that I don't think you can just, in my opinion, forgive and forget because they went out of their way to like lie about the situation with Cyberpunk, and um, they screwed a lot of people over. And I think this is something that happens when a company like CD Projekt gets so big so fast, right? Like The Witcher 1 was their first game and it was well received by people who played it for the time, but everyone still was kind of like, yeah, I mean it's not the best. It's not exactly where we would like to see like Western RPGs. And then when The Witcher 2 came out, everyone recognized it as this massive leap forward in terms of story, graphics, gameplay, and The Witcher 2 was very well received, and they supported it for a really long time, gained a lot of goodwill. Same with The Witcher 3, which set the standard, you know. And The Witcher 3 is really where CD Projekt blew up because The Witcher 3 was massive. I mean, it created a
Yeah,
whole media franchise out of something that most people didn't even know. Um, and because they grew so fast, I think you miss all those growing pains and mistakes. You miss the little mistakes, right? And then when you're this big and you finish something like Cyberpunk, well, now all of a sudden you've got a lot of investors and a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And I think they got a little too money hungry and they suffered a lot of consequences. Their company is not worth as much as it was when The Witcher 3 came out, and I think I'm hoping that they don't make the same mistakes ever again because that'd be really upsetting.
yeah, I agree. That would be very disappointing. That'd be very much a lack of like social learning where, like you can't go to the well and fuck it up twice.
Yeah,
And I think they had to work really, really hard to get Cyberpunk to the point where people are. I feel like it's got more players now. That, like it's got over 100,000 players like concurrently or something like that. I was hearing
yeah,
like,
yep,
but like they got to the point where they were able to generate interest. Now there's momentum into the game. We got a expansion coming next year.
yep,
So like I think the game's in a spot where it's got positive momentum. Like I think you said, they're gonna put that expansion out, lay it to bed, get to
hmm
work on whatever the next project is. They're giving us another Cyberpunk sequel. So I think I really think they had to bust their ass to get that game in that position, or that IP, should I say.
yeah.
So
My
kudos to
thing
them.
is, I don't know how you feel about this, but this is one of my big pet peeves: is creating an expansion that takes place in the middle of a campaign.
I don't like that.
Mass Mass Effect did that, and I think Cyberpunk is going to be doing that, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't like that because like it makes it tough that like if you're gonna do that, then just wait to release the fucking game with that baked into the campaign. Like don't do that.
Yeah, one of Witcher's expansions takes place in the middle of it, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know why companies tend to do that. Just put
I
it
just
make it at the end. You know,
Yeah, like make it
Hearts of
an
Stone was in the
additional
middle,
story.
but then Blood and Wine from The Witcher was at the end. So
Yeah.
Blood and Wine had a good ending.
Or just give me like a side story. Like, don't fucking like. It just makes me feel like that was content that was like maybe slated in the original game, and they're like, oh well, let's cut this and we'll just put it as DLC.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know,
That
man.
I don't like. But this is gonna be like the first time I think that I'll have bought an expansion for a game. I'm like very famously not a DLC guy. Like I just feel like
So
once I'm done with a game, I just kind of
like this is the
I'm
first
out.
time you bought an expansion for a game full stop. Like you've never played an expansion before.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
that's
do
crazy.
it. I mean, I guess I'm lying because I mean, do we consider the Final Fantasy 15's expansions?
Yes,
Then I mean,
I
I
would.
guess, but
They
I just
have
feel
to.
like though. I don't know. I don't know if I look at those the same because like I feel like they were separate stories. Yeah, they're going on at the same time, but I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe I am. I guess my second time really investing, but yeah, like I usually once DLC pops out, like I don't buy it. Like I just don't. I don't know what it is. Like once I'm done with a game, I just find it hard to like then go back.
I did not know that about you.
Yeah, because I the one that hurt me was I really wanted the Spider-Man DLC. Like when
Hmm.
the first Spider-Man came out, I was really in on that, and then like it came out, and I just yeah, never played it. Never even bought it.
The first episode for the Spider-Man DLC was really good and really added a lot to Black Cat's character. But then the episodes after that were not that great.
Yeah, and I've heard there's been
Unfortunate.
like some really great DLC over the years that have come out for games like with even like BioShock, like Minerva's Den or Burial at Sea. Like some of
Hmm.
these are like top tier DLCs that come out, and then like even like with a game like Destiny, like I buy every expansion. I'll
Hmm.
buy the expansion and then like play some of the new stuff, and then I won't touch it. I'm like, all right, I'm good here. Like I don't know what it is. Like it's just like a mental block in my brain where like yeah we're putting out DLC and yeah no I'm good I'm out.
You're out on that, huh?
Yeah,
I don't
but
know. For me, DLC can, not always will, but can add a lot to the experience of a game. It can also be really annoying, but I think that was, in my opinion, mainly the days of when we would add endings to DLC packages.
uh,
Like Final Fantasy 13 2's true ending is in a DLC pack.
yeah you can't do
So
that.
no, you can't leave the game on a cliffhanger
Right,
and then put the real ending in a fucking um in a DLC pack. That's fucked up. You can't be having that. But
right, I agree.
I don't know. So yeah, Cyberpunk's great though. I'm loving it. I'm trying to move on into to a new game. I'm still trying to get into Horizon Forbidden West. Struggling a little bit, you know. For me, Horizon Forbidden West is just not. It's not getting its hooks in me, and I don't know what it is, but I'm like, man, this is just. It feels dated. Um, it's just not. I don't know. Especially going from Cyberpunk, which is such an
Yeah,
immersive, deep world, and then I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West, where I just want to skip through all the dialogue because none of what anybody has to say is interesting whatsoever. You know, like I'm going to these settlements and whatnot. And first off, Aloy is extremely unlikable in this game. I thought people were probably exaggerating, but she wasn't like this in Zero Dawn. Did you play Zero Dawn?
no, I have
She
a
was like a
weird
really
relationship with Horizon.
she was like a really good character in Zero Dawn, and I thought really likable. And in this game, she's like very standoffish, very
Hmm.
rude to people. I'm just like I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it so far, but I'm still grinding away. I'm gonna give it a chance. Still Still holding out for like Final Fantasy Crisis Core this year, and God of War, of course.
Yeah. See, me, I have a weird relationship with Horizon because like I really Gorilla is probably my favorite Sony like first party developer, but like for some reason I don't know like I want to play Horizon. I know I'll probably like it, but then I just don't do it. Like I don't know what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Like I just it's almost like the same with Ghost of Tsushima. Like I was like, it's not the right time. I don't have enough time. It doesn't. I find reasons not to that I just never get to it. And now that I think they're doing aren't they doing a definitive version for PS5 for Zero Dawn? I
That
think
is the rumor. It hasn't
yeah.
been confirmed, but that
So
is the rumor.
now I'm just kind of waiting to see if they actually do that. Islanders has scored, by the way. Go Islanders. Um, now that I'm waiting for them to do that, I'm like, well, fuck. Like, I'm not gonna just play the PS4 version if I know there's potentially a PS5 one might get announced.
Right.
So it's just again, like I just give myself fucking reasons not to play something that I know I'm gonna like because like I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like there's too many fucking games to play. Like 2023 is
I
gonna be
mean,
terrible for me.
that is true. There
It's a good
is
problem to have, but fuck.
a disgusting amount of games, actually, I would say.
Yeah, I have been relying on the patient gamers to keep myself grounded because sometimes I'm like, fuck, I really want to play this, but I gotta play this. I'm like, just
Oh,
play
so
it when play it when you play it.
you did jump into that subreddit.
Yes,
Yes, greatest place. Greatest
yes,
place.
just play it when you play it.
Yep. And you know what? Cyberpunk has proven that,
Yeah. Oh
We
my
both
god.
didn't
Yeah.
like Cyberpunk at first, and now we jumped back in when it was all finished and taken care of, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see. Like, I'm definitely excited to see what they're gonna do with that. But yeah, like it's just you got to play stuff when you play it because like if you let the FOMO hit you, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
If you let the FOMO hit you, then Panthers just scored a goal against the fucking Islanders. God damn it.
Killing me.
If you let the FOMO hit you, then you just feel like you're not enjoying things, and like that's not a good place to be as a gamer.
No,
Like, I
definitely not.
could you imagine like if we actually got paid to do this shit, and we had to play like every new release, it'd be awful.
Yes,
It'd be
I agree.
awful.
Who wants to do that?
I think you similarly to me, you probably at one point dreamed of working in the games industry at like IGN or whatever. Like I feel like every kid
Yeah,
has that dream. That
sure
would be a
did.
fucking nightmare, bro. Fucking
Yep,
nightmare.
I 100% agree. And I'm glad that I did not pursue that path because, first off, the industry sucks. The industry is
Yes.
awful,
Yes.
especially for game developers who get treated like absolute garbage. And it's just a hyper liberal, insane space. Um, but there was a there was a long time in my life where I wanted to be a games journalist or be a game developer, and um, I'm just really glad I didn't go down that path because playing games and being involved in an industry that you use as a hobby is just not. It's not fun. It's not what you want because now all of a sudden your hobby is your fucking job, and who wants to do that? Who wants to have their hobby, their one thing they enjoy, to get away from stuff as their job? Not me.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to be a streamer. Streamers, I mean, streamers are huge now, and they weren't huge when we were younger. But
Right.
that's even worse, right? Because they have to play games like for a solid 8 hours a day or longer, or they don't get paid at all.
Yeah, that would like annoy me.
Yeah, no thanks, man. No thanks.
Yeah, that would 100% annoy me. I also like touching on the games industry because I wanted to bring this up last episode and I just forgot. Um, what is like the games industry like the fucking like old Hollywood like from the 50s? I feel like it's the wild wild west. There's no regulation. There's no there's no normalcy. I feel like every fucking week somebody's like tweeting about how they were sexually assaulted or just they were discriminated against or some fucking wild story and I'm just like what in the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
Like are people
yeah.
fucking like when they meet some of these like girl journalists like are they just demanding they take their clothes off like oh you want to get famous don't you? Like I just feel like it's like very out of the 50s fucking like just sleazy happenings but then also um are we overblowing like what sexual assault is? Because I mean, there's no way one industry can just be full of fucking sexual predators. Like I struggle to believe that like every male in a position of power in the games industry, or just any male who looks at a female is all of a sudden a sexual fucking predator, a sexual fucking deviant, if you will. And I know this is
Well,
something that's been beaten to death. I know there's something that's been beaten to death. I understand, but like I recently saw a tweet that like this I don't even know who it was, and I really don't want to give like I really want to say their name because I really don't want to give them like any sort of attention, but I just want to talk about what I saw. Like they were like such and such sexually assaulted me, and no one's doing anything about it. Like just big fucking tweet, just throwing it out there, and then there's all these sympathies like, oh, I'm sorry, and blah 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 blah, and like just this whole fucking gong show. And I was like, I'm like, why didn't you go to the police? Like, what the fuck are you like?
right.
You know what I mean? If there's tangible proof, I just don't understand.
I think one of the answers to your question is like, yes, the the ideas of like sexual assault are overblown for sure. Um, and there's a lot of things that aren't sexual assault that are or like her. I guess not assault, harassment is the term, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that aren't harassment, but people are playing them off like they are. Like for instance, I saw recently that like um this one girl went to like a I forget the whole story, but she went to like a party after TwitchCon and she was like approached by a dude, right? And that was like
Mhm.
that was like as far as it went. But the dude has a girlfriend and she like, put him on blast and did like the my story or my experience with so and so. And it's like,
Yeah, like come
okay,
on.
so like the dude's a cheater, right? But he's not like a
Uh,
murderer. He's not
Oops.
like a
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's weird, especially when we get into stuff like that. What didn't that dude from Ubisoft a couple years ago like cheat on his wife and like
Yeah.
got kicked out of the industry and whatnot? And I'm like, okay, but like,
Right.
this isn't like a criminal offense. It's not. I mean, like, sure, the dude's a scumbag, but like, what are we doing here? You know?
Right. I mean, there have definitely been some tough looks for some guys. Like, I remember famously like Adam Kovic, and I forget that other guy from Rooster Teeth. Like it came out that they were sending like fucking nudes to fans, and one guy allegedly sent one to a kid who was like at the time under 18. So I was like, I mean, tough look. So like,
Yeah,
there's definitely
can't be
something.
having that.
Even like if you're familiar with like YouTube, like Pro Jared was another one who was like actively cheating on his wife and had like a nudes distributing fucking ring or whatever it was with fans, and again, some fans were underage. Oh, so it's alleged, of course. Um, and I was just like, all right, it's like some of these things are a bit like again, bit of a tough look, or even like Activision Blizzard with their fucking apparently their parties being just a sexual harassment fest.
Yeah,
Like again, so there's definitely some tough looks where you're like, don't know if I don't know if that's a good thing. Don't know if that's quite acceptable there. But I also like, again, I just feel like there's no fucking way that like an entire industry is just full of fucking like sexual predators. It's just like because here's the problem too, right? Like and maybe do we want to disparage people for trying to make money? No, but you also got to look at if you're going to make money a certain way, there's going to be a certain stigma that comes to it. So like you look at like these female Twitch streamers, right? And then some of these cosplay models, almost all of them have OnlyFans,
for sure,
which is like considered like a porn site at this point.
for sure.
So like, which is it for me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, one of I guess Amaranth is her name. Amaranth. I think
Yeah,
there's one really
Amaranth
famous
or
one who
whatever.
allegedly made $27 million on OnlyFans, which is insanity to me.
Yeah,
Um, so like, if you're gonna sit there and prey on these fucking neckbeards and simps who are literally willing to pay money to see lewds of you, not even nudes, lewds, which again, that's a whole fucking rabbit hole, excuse me. That like they're gonna pay this because you put on some gaming gear. Here, take my money. Let me DM you. Like that's fucking wild. Like if that's gonna be like acceptable, right? That's what it is. Then how is it in the same industry a guy like, hey, tells a girl she's pretty, and he's a fucking harassing fuck.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I totally understand what you're talking about. But I also think that this is an industry that is full of like dudes that are total losers at the same time, you know?
mhm.
And I think that might have something to do with it. I'm not positive, but I don't know, man. Also, like I just hate this whole Twitch culture in general. Like I really think that this Twitch culture is is like disgusting. Did you see that video of the dude getting thrown out of the party, the Twitch party because he didn't donate enough subs? He only donated 25 instead of like 50 or whatever.
And they threw him out.
They threw him out, yeah, because
How'd they throw him out? They're like, you gotta fucking get fucked. Like,
yeah, like get the fuck out of my house. Essentially, is how it went.
oh wow.
Um, and the dude pulled up his like thing. He's like, "No, look, I gave you like $237," and I'm like, and he's like, "Can I?" He's like, "No, yeah." He's like, "Here, I donated another $237. Can I stay?" And the dude's like, "No, get the fuck out of my house." And I'm like, dude, imagine donating $230 to somebody just not only just to be at their party, and then they tell you to get fucked and get out. Like,
Yeah, and you're like, can I stay? Like,
they're
fuck out of
literally
here.
like they're literally like the scum of the earth. I absolutely hate
Well,
Twitch streamers, and I hate the people that like donate a shitload of money to them. And like if you want to give like your Amazon Prime subscription that you're gonna get anyway to a streamer, that's fine. But stop giving these people money. They don't deserve it. They don't
yeah,
deserve your money for playing video games. I'm sorry. Like that's not and these girls, dude, stop giving money to these girls. It's
that's the
not
one that
gonna
bothers me. Like, cause they
it's not
are,
gonna get you like anywhere.
yeah. It's because like it's very, in my opinion, I think it's predatory personally. Like you're preying on the money, disposable income of these guys who, maybe due to a lack of self confidence, or maybe there's not, whatever the factor is, like they don't really get attention. And so like when a pretty girl who sees to who does the things they like to do and maybe might share the same passion for their hobby, like gives them attention because they gave them money, like how, of course they're going to keep doing it because like, oh,
Right.
I subscribe to her Patreon or her OnlyFans, and I can DM her and she responds back, and I'm getting this engagement, and like, and of course, like, they get sent photos, whether they're nudes or cosplay or whatever it is, and like it's I don't know, because I feel it's predatory, but in the same token, like, no one's holding a gun to these guys' heads and like, hey, don't give this girl money. But I think it's a tough look, because in the same token, you have them like, oh, I don't want to just be looked at as like a sexual object, or like because of my looks, or like, which is it? And it
Yeah.
just, and it's on a case by case basis. Not every female Twitter personality or streamer does this, but for the ones that do, I think they make it a lot tougher for the ones that don't, because like there's a certain expectation to be set, like,
Right.
and it's I don't know. I just think it's a tough look for gaming, where I think people are getting into that industry, like streaming and YouTube and stuff like that, for, I mean, strictly for the money. And again, they're taking advantage of people who like don't really get that attention anywhere from actual people. And I don't know. I don't like the principle of it. I just don't like it. Not a fan.
I know. I agree with you. I think it feels predatory as well. That's the same reason I don't like strip clubs. I just
Yeah,
I think it feels very predatory against like everyone's on the same page about like disabled people, right? But no
yeah,
one's on the same page about like sad, depressed, vulnerable people. It doesn't strike me as like right that we're just okay with like taking advantage of like these sad, vulnerable people that just are lonely. I don't know. I've said this
yeah.
for years now. I don't like the whole
Well, because like for all
culture
that,
behind
just
it.
like legalize prostitution. Then if it's like if we're gonna make this sect acceptable, just make it all acceptable. Like
Yeah,
then like the morality it's there, but like at that point it's all a choice. It's all like if you want to get this certain thing, like hey, pay for it, and like you tax it, and like there are
yeah,
certain countries that have an industry that are a prostitution industry that is fully taxed, fully regulated, and like there's not this I guess predatory thing to it because like it's you're paying for a service.
yeah,
But I don't know, man. Like it just grinds my gears because like again, this industry feels like there's no middle ground. There's no bar. It's just so fluid that like one week we all hate this, next week oh fuck new issue, fuck the other people. Like if you
yeah.
remember famously with the Me Too stuff, like how could like really if you were a female, like you could have just accused anyone of sexual assault and like made some shit up without any form of verification, any form of like proof, and it was taken as fact. So I'm like, how
Yeah,
is that possible?
yeah. And people were, losing their jobs
Yeah,
and
yeah, like people lost their fucking livelihood over that.
yeah, and there was no investigation whatsoever. There was just mobs coming after people on social media and calling people's works and stuff like that. And that happens every day now, and it's like this can't be normal. Like this isn't right.
Like there are people who got Me Too'd, right? That are completely out of the industry. Yet there's a motherfucker who plagiarized, right? Who famously stole somebody else's work, and he's still doing fucking gaming reviews on his
Yeah,
own channel. Like, how's that guy not? And he's still getting sponsors and everything. Like, how? Like, oh my god! And again, it just makes no damn sense.
is he getting like sponsors and
Yeah,
shit?
he still reviews shit and stuff. Philip Mewson, he still reviews
Wow,
stuff.
I didn't know he was
And
getting like reviews and
yeah, and
stuff.
I mean, it's nuts.
That
Like
is
you would
nuts.
think somebody like that in the games industry would be like a fucking like you're a fucking pariah, but like a guy like Vincent Janito, even though I don't really care for him, but like remember he was just out over somebody
Yeah,
accusing him of like I'm like you can't fucking do that. Like it's fucking
I know. I agree with you, buddy. I agree. Like now, Vincent Janito, I think is a giant bitch though. Like, and I have no problem saying that. Like, this dude claims that he didn't do anything wrong, and then is like, oh, but I do want to apologize for hurting someone's feelings or the misunderstanding. And I don't know, dude. I was just kind of like, when I heard his interview with Colin Moriarty, I was like, shut the
yeah
fuck
that
up.
yeah like that one again it was a good interview, but like again it was a tough look for me because I agree with you. He was like, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong." I'm like, "Okay, then like, what are you apologizing for? Like, if
Yeah,
like, okay, if you did something wrong, or at worst, if like maybe I think your boundaries with this girl were bad, like if all right, own it, like
yeah,
own it. There are guys who do way worse, but like he was just like basically dancing around the issue, and basically he's what a self-proclaimed feminist. I believe he
yeah,
said it,
yeah,
which I don't even know what that means. Besides simp, like that's what I get out
yeah,
of it. But I just I don't get what his messaging was because I understand like in the games industry like when the Me Too movement happened like you didn't want to invalidate people like it makes sense I understand
right.
but like in that not trying to invalidate how somebody else feels about what you did you're also opening yourself up to like okay what you according to them what you did was like fact like okay if you're sexually harassing people then you should be criminally charged like I
Hmm.
want you held accountable right like I don't
I
want just
agree.
fucking sexual deviants running around my
I
fucking
agree.
neighborhoods and shit like that but if it's something like where you don't understand boundaries then that's a bit of a different issue because like to me, like if I go up to you and pat you on the back, hey Seth, how you doing? To me, that's just a friendly hello. But to maybe a girl, that's like a fucking red flag to get set up to do something else. Like that's a conversation because like that inherently isn't a predatory move. If you then
Hmm.
after that conversation do it again, then we have a problem, right?
Right.
Like it's just one of these things. Like it's not like he was walking up and slapping asses. Like it's not like you know. So I just don't get. I just don't get like how we go to these extremes and nobody does it. Like there are some people who made accusations that just flat out weren't true
Yeah.
that still have jobs. Like they should be fired. You
Yes.
should be
Yes.
fired.
And that chick that was part of the Gamergate thing, that Zoe Quinn chick,
Yeah.
she straight up accused someone of um like sexual harassment, and it wasn't true, and the dude killed himself, and there's no accountability for it whatsoever.
Yeah, like you can't do that.
Zero.
And I just feel
I
like
don't know.
we enable like this hive mind stuff, and it at what point are we like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, man.
Like that's I'm saying, that's why I could never work in the game. I would fucking lose my god. Like if this podcast ever, or this brand even ever, got to the point where we were doing it full time, like this was our jobs, and people would try to give us shit for like things we say or opinions we have, like I don't know what I would do, because like there would be so many fucking tweets and videos of me telling people to get fucked. Like like I wouldn't know what to like I wouldn't know what to say. Like
Yeah,
because I feel
for sure.
because even like a pod like the sacred symbols guys, like they're considered like a fucking gorilla outfit, and like I don't think they have opinions that are all that controversial. Like I think you know what
No,
I mean. Like I think
no.
they're like I don't agree with everything they say, but I think like they're reasonably thinking people for the most part. Like it just seems like they
Yeah,
don't seem like unreasonable. But like again, they're considered like the fucking gorilla outfit. Like oh fuck these guys, and they say all this negative shit about Colin, about like him being like a racist and a sexist and all this other nonsense. I think he's like arrogant, but like whatever. That's his personality. Like I'd be arrogant too
yeah,
if I had one of the biggest gaming Patreons. So you know what I mean? Like,
for
like
sure.
I'm not gonna. I ain't mad at him, but it's wild. So like I wonder like what a podcast like this would be, where we straight up hate some of these motherfuckers, and
Yeah,
like what that response would be. But like yeah, never in a million years is somebody, like regardless of how they feel about what I say, like is gonna tell me to fucking like not have my own opinion, or like hey you can't say that, or cancel me. Like fuck you, dude.
yeah. I think the way to go about it is to just Portnoy it, right? To like be
Dude, he went
completely
full scorched
unapologetic.
earth.
Yeah,
Dude, remember
completely unapologetic.
he got accused of sexual assault, and like he went full transparency, like scorched earth, like hey, like all right, we're gonna talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it. And like he always says, I always tell the truth, and I used to be like, no, you fucking like who does that? But like he did. And like that, like he has a lawsuit and everything against that company that like basically wrote a hit piece on him with
Yeah,
no proof, and like he called each and every single one of these girls out, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful fucking thing.
yeah. No, I agree. I think that's the only way to go about it. Same, and Colin kind of did the same thing, right? Where he's just like, no, this isn't true about me. I'm not going to
Yeah,
apologize for something that I didn't do.
yeah. All of her stupid fucking tweet a day without a woman like silence. It was like what silence or some shit like that, like something
Yeah.
dumb.
And looking
And
looking
people,
back on it, it's just like so stupid. You know, like that whole situation is just so stupid. Especially like the big deal people made about that, man. I just cannot understand what the fuck was going on in that situation, because god damn it, people made a huge deal about that, and the kind of funny guys did too. They all fucking abandoned him, and
yeah,
they let him out to dry, and it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like this was supposed to be your boy.
yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah, and like I said, I would love an opportunity to have a sit down and like come at some of these guys for being stooges, because I'm like that's like all time stooge fucking behavior, man. Like
Yeah,
one of your guys tweets something like grand scheme of things kind of dumb. Like it was like the tweet wasn't even that funny, to be honest with you. Like it wasn't even funny. Like it was like I didn't find it funny, but like not in an offended way. I'm just kind of like all right, whatever, Colin. But then
right,
like the outrage that fucking came, I'm like get the fuck out of here.
right,
Like whoever reads that and gets offended, I'll say it here. I love it when my girlfriend's not home. A day without women's silence, you get to do whatever the fuck you want. Like that's I feel like that's a typical goddamn man thing to say.
right,
And like but you're gonna tell me how that's sexist and fucking chauvinist? Like get the fuck out of here.
right.
Get the fuck out of here. Like
Yeah,
no fucking way. So it's just like I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but Like when I saw that, like that just grinded my fucking gears, man.
Yeah,
That
same
this
thing.
industry is just like fucking, it's just a fucking allowed.
I used to be a huge kind of funny guy, right? And ever since that, I was like, no, you guys are a bunch of scumbags. I'm not putting up with that.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, I'll hold to everything I fucking say. You know, whether this is brought up 10 years from now, or like, say if I'm ever running for president and somebody listens to this podcast and oh, you said this, yeah, I fucking said it. Like fuck.
Yeah,
Like what?
that's yeah, that is the only way. Dude, I just saw someone calling out that like a great video of someone calling out that AOC girl. You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
She's a politician, but she was like super anti-war, and now all of a sudden she is like being pro, like super pro, like giving nuclear weapons to Ukraine, and everyone's like, "Yo, this wasn't who you were supposed to be. Like, you're straight up part of the establishment now. That's like trying to be super pro war and like get us into a nuclear war."
Yeah.
And they were just calling her out, and it's like, yeah, like a lot of these motherfuckers are just taking advantage of people. Like that's what they do.
Yeah, it's like it's brutal because like you look at, and now that we're on the topic of it, like you know, being accountable for the things you say, right? So say if you or I say something stupid on this podcast, right? Like
Yeah.
I fully expect, like if you're called out on it and it is something stupid that you said, like all right, like there's a pro wrestler named Sammy Guevara, and
Yeah.
he famously on a podcast that probably like six people listen to, said something about wanting to rape Sasha Banks, something along those lines,
Holy fuck.
and yeah, like. I, and I'll be honest, like in our lifetimes, we've probably said something worse, but
Yeah.
like you know, when it's out there and you said it, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, it's a tough look, bud. Own it, like you said it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and unfortunately, he had to get suspended and do counseling, which I didn't think was quite necessary. Like, I get it, you got to be accountable, and the company's got to say, like, I understand, but like, one of the things he did, he's like, yeah, I said this. I'm not going to deny it. Like, you know, not a great look, but
Mhm.
at the time, like, you know what I mean? Like you said it and you're at a certain level of maturity and like think about some of the things that are said like in group chats, right?
Mhm.
Like think about some of our own group chats. Like if some of that stuff that we said got out, oh fuck. It would suck. But like it is what it is. Like it's not like we didn't say it. It's not like so like what do you expect people to do? Like people are fallible. People like make mistakes. But
Yeah.
also are you expecting like hey, people are gonna tweet this 10 years from now when like you know I become famous or whatever it is. Like you're not thinking about that shit.
That's the world
No.
we live in now, though, and people are we're gonna have to adapt. You know.
Well, remember, think about it. James Gunn got fucking kicked off a project for whatever the hell he said 10 years ago. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
come on,
literally a decade ago.
like come on. But again, in
One of
the
the
same
most
industry,
ridiculous things.
Ezra Miller is still the Flash.
Yeah, I saw that. It all is it like the same standards are not the same for everybody. That's all there is to it.
Yeah,
I don't know,
it's
man.
like I said, I just I struggle with the games industry. Like, thankfully, I just enjoy playing video games. Like, I never want to be like a journalist or, like you said, a dev. Or I just never want to be that because, like, I feel like you have to adhere to a certain lifestyle and a certain political view and a certain like.
Right.
I'm not living my life like that. And it sucks that people have to do that. That like in order to stay in their industry. Like I feel like in order to stay in the games industry, you have to have pink hair in the writers' room. Like you might as well just dye your hair pink. Just dye your hair
Right.
pink.
Yep. I agree.
And yeah, it sucks. So I digress. I digress off that because I'm getting upset.
For sure.
um, so another thing I noticed, and this is we're now going into the underbelly of the games industry. Welcome back to the retro game community. Welcome back. Um, remember we talked about like sealed games, like
Yeah.
sealed graded games. So
Yeah.
Pat the NES Punk put out a video detailing like how some of these things like dropped within months. So like
Mhm.
a game like Sonic the Hedgehog sealed, I forget what the grade was, but it went for like I think $30,000 in an auction.
Mhm.
That same item 6 months later went for like 16 grand, which is still a lot of
Holy
money for that. But
fuck.
Like, think about like that drop off though. It's almost like a 50% markdown.
Right.
So like now it's got these like gatekeeper guys like panicking. Like a lot of guys now are like,
Good.
well, the auction house shouldn't even allow this to be sold for this. And I'm like, well, like, do you
What?
think they give a flying fuck that like you're losing money on your fucking stupid item? No, they're just making money. Like they're like,
That's
fuck you.
that's the name of the game. What are they talking about? The auction house, dude. Everyone wants to cry like unfairness now when they're on the losing side of things. It's so ridiculous. I hate that. If that had gone for a shitload more money, that was like absurd. No one would say a word, right? Because it benefits them.
Right. And it's fucking nuts. Like, I'm glad this is happening though, because there's nothing I hate more than sealed collecting. There's nothing I hate more. Like, there's nothing I hate more than like, oh, I'm gonna keep this sealed, and I'm gonna go have it graded by somebody, and then it's now worth basically some people's like investment into their business. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this though, because I think this is also it falls along the same lines. How do you feel about like trading cards?
I think they're along the same category, man. Like trading card, like Magic the Gathering is like nuts with how fucking
Mm-hmm.
expensive shit is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people basically like investing into their retirement based off cards.
Okay, what about like sports cards, like baseball cards?
That I think that's another thing that's like, but
Because
I
people are
feel like that
definitely
industry's always been that way though. That's one industry that like hasn't changed in my opinion.
true. I would argue that like playing games like Pokemon and whatnot, they've always been like that though. I mean, people go and get them graded, and all of a sudden they're asking for 10, 20 times the original value of it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
I think that's just as annoying.
how do you feel that we were like the only two guys who took the fat L on the Final Fantasy trading card game? That's not worth anything.
It's worth something to me, buddy. It's got a
One of the
spot in my heart.
all-time fucking L's. One of the
Yep,
all-time L's.
it's got a spot in my
And
heart.
I was looking the other day. Like I think a foil Tifa is like worth like $300. I
It's
think.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm like that's fucking like. Every time I look at those cards, I just get mad.
I have one of the rarest cards in that collection. I have a Zach Fair.
Oh wow. And but yeah, I think like the card industry, like it's getting to be that way where things are getting like crazily priced, and I forget. I wish my buddy Adam was here to talk about Magic because like there's certain cards that are worth like $20,000.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm like, who is paying this?
Yep.
But then like I feel like there's another game. There's another card game. It's like based. I can't think of the damn name, but it's like going more rare than Magic. It's like it's a card game, but it's like but like a lot of the characters are like actual anime characters. I can't
Talking
think
about
of the name
Yu-Gi-Oh?
though. No.
I don't know.
Um. Fuck. I can't remember the name. But yeah, when I went to a card shop with my buddy Adam, he like showed it to me. It's like Zemwet. I can't think of the name. I'll have to
I don't
ask
know,
him,
man.
but yeah, I'll follow up on that next show. But yeah, it's I forget what the name is, but they're like super rare. Where even like we're at the card shop, he's like, "Hey, do you have this?" And he's like, "Dude, we don't keep those in. The minute they get into, they're gone."
Wow.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I think we live in a really weird time for collectibles because, and I blame our generation. Like I blame us.
Yeah.
Like we're all in that position where like we're adults now and have disposable income, and now all the shit that now that we all the shit that we thought was cool when we were kids, we want again because like the nostalgia, and now we're paying out the ass for it.
Yeah, well, we've also lived in a very peaceful time, and that's probably about to come to an end soon. So things are about to get really interesting as far as our generation goes, because I think it's gonna be a struggle for a while. When you hear our government saying that we need unemployment to come up to like 12% to get out of the recession, and that they're gonna actively shoot for that, I'm like, you guys should not be saying things like this.
Yeah,
I
that's not
don't, I
good.
don't, I don't think you guys understand the position you're in if unemployment gets to 12%, because the government's the people who are going to get blamed for everything. Like these
and
officials,
it's crazy because think about it. Like we can't give fucking jobs away right now.
right?
So how
So
the fuck are you gonna like? I don't know. I think
uh,
this, not that I want to get political, but like I think this recession is gonna be really tough on a lot of people.
it's going to be really
Um,
bad.
yeah, it's not gonna be great. But hey, that's why it's nice to have a good job and have some stability.
Yep.
And um, yeah, just it's a weird time because we're seeing like I just said, like collectibles are at an all time fucking high, and I just feel like our generation gets pandered to so much. Or think about it, we're getting '90s remakes of fucking everything. Like everything's getting a re-release, everything's getting a fucking remaster or coming back. Or hell, there's fucking adult Happy Meals now. Like what?
Oh, I saw that. Did you see that? Like there was a like, article about how McDonald's employees are like begging people not to get them.
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, because they're like I guess a huge pain in the ass. I don't know. I don't know how it's any different than making like a you know
Well, dude, they're not even a good deal.
Big
So
Mac meal.
before I started dieting again, me and my girlfriend, we both got that adult Happy Meals. Like, you know what? Let's go get adult Happy Meals. So
Yeah.
she got the Big Mac meal. I got the 10-piece nug meal. For both those Happy Meals, 23. It was like $23,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, it would have been fucking cheaper to get the bundle box.
Yep.
Like, if you get the bundle box, that feeds two people pretty easily. You get the fucking two adult Happy Meals, like you're getting fucking skull fucked. Like that's so. Like I was like, maybe they did that to just reiterate that adulthood sucks. That like being an adult is actually terrible. So when you get like your Happy Meal, you're actually getting ripped off. And the toy was
Dude,
terrible.
um I don't know. Like I everything's just so expensive now. Like that's the thing of it. Like everyone's making more money now, right? Like
Yeah,
I've done very well these last 2 years. I've gotten huge promotions at work, and for the area, I make a lot, not a lot of money, but like a pretty good amount of money.
yeah,
But even I'm like, oh my god, like I can't even go to McDonald's with Caitlin without spending 20 some dollars. Jeez.
yeah. It's nuts, and it just it just keeps going up. And I don't know, like you even look at like video games are getting more expensive. Like if you look
Yeah.
at it, I think obviously famously Sony started charging more in certain regions. Um, but I don't know, man. Like it's just a weird time. But I think I'm hoping going into 2023, like things start to like normalize because I feel like games are gonna have to really be quality games to get your attention in 2023, man.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
that's gonna be a fucking grind, but a good one. And um, I don't know. It's just this generation's been so fucking weird because like I feel like there's not really a reason to jump into the next gen consoles. They like none of the systems have really given you a reason to own one.
Right.
Besides like the promise of what's coming, but that there's nothing there at the moment. So it's just one of those things like you can't like if you had to describe this generation, right? Like, what's the game of the generation for the PS5 and Xbox Series X generation? Like, what's the defining game?
No, I don't know, man. I really don't. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
Um
eh,
I just there's really I'm still waiting for like something to blow my socks off to play with my PS5. Like Horizon Forbidden West was supposed to be like the big one, right? But I'm playing it, and I'm like, it's fine. There's nothing
yeah, and
special here.
and we're heading into what is this the second year of PS5 or year three of PS5?
Yeah, something
When
like
did
that.
PS5 come out? 2020?
Yeah, we're going. This is the second year, I think. We're going on to the third year.
Yeah, so like 3 years in, like now it's time to start hitting the stride and start
Hmm.
really showing the stuff. And I don't know. It's just one of those weird generations that like I just feel like I spent a lot of my time on my PS5 playing PS4 games,
Hmm.
and I don't know, but but video games isn't the only industry that like it's a weird fucking time. Like I feel like movies were in this like weird lull that like either it's comic book movies or shows that we're getting beat over the head with, and now we're getting beat over the head with fucking video game shows. Like what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I think now you alluded to this earlier. I think the video game show. I think the reason Edge Runners works so well is simply because um it's an anime and
Yeah,
it's not a it's not a live action, right?
right.
Um and I think video games work a lot better with animes than they do live action because there's just certain things in anime and video games that you can do that don't translate well in live action. For instance, look at Death Note. Death Note sucks, man. It's terrible. It really is. But like they just keep making the same mistakes. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with these adaptions all the time.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that like some. I just feel like they're throwing a bunch of shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah,
Like essentially,
definitely.
like in the last year, I remember watching like the Halo live action show where I was immediately out after episode one, where they fucking took off Master Chief's helmet. I'm like, I've been waiting literally fucking years for this to happen in a video game, and this is what you fucking do, episode one, you dickheads.
Yeah. They were definitely just
Um,
like, yo, we gotta get publicity and we got people to watch this. I didn't even turn that show on for 5 minutes. Like I could care less about that the Halo TV show.
yeah, it was bad. I'm
Same with
not.
Rings of Power, by the way. I turned on
Uh,
Rings of Power for one episode and I'm like, no,
I've
not
been
happening.
I've been going media blackout because I want to watch the first 5 episodes. No, I lied. First 3 episodes, and then make my own opinion. But yeah, like Rings of Power wasn't really well received. Obviously Resident Evil tanked. Cowboy Bebop tanked. But then
Yeah.
you have like Castlevania, which people overall love the Castlevania. But again, that's an
Which is
anime.
an anime. Yeah, which is an anime.
Yeah, so it's a weird time. Like I want to see how this Last of Us show pans out. I have a feeling it'll be good. I think. Um, and then what? We're getting a Ghost of Tsushima show, right?
I heard that. I don't know if that's concrete yet because they always make plans, stupid fucking plans like
Or
that.
is it
You know,
Horizon? We're getting one of the two. I forget.
there were Ghost of Tsushima. There was like a Metal Gear movie that was supposed to come out a long time ago.
Thank God that didn't get made.
Right. Right. Just there's
I
always
do have a feeling
dumb shit
Kojima's
like
gonna
that.
put out a movie soon, though. It's gonna happen.
You think Kojima's gonna put out a movie?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like he's friends with so many movie industry guys. Like, how have none of them been like, "Yo, let's make a movie, bro"?
I don't know. I have no
Like,
idea.
do you think they're all sitting there like, "Yo, fucking never let this fucking idiot make a movie"? Like, these are gonna be terrible.
It's gonna take forever to come out.
Yeah, I just struggle to believe that they're like he's not like goes to Guillermo del Toro like, hey, let's make a movie. Norman Reedus can be the like, come on, like I just feel like that's what their intention just is, and I don't know, man. Like we're in a, like I said, we're in a really weird fucking time for the video game industry because video games are so fucking mainstream now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird. Like I feel like there are more gamers now than there ever were when we were fucking kids. Like nobody like when you were like, "Oh, I'm a gamer." Like again, you were just considered a fucking nerd. Where now, like it's like everyone's a nerd. Like everyone's a
Right.
fucking nerd. Like think about it. How many fucking grown ass men that are older than you and I that are like our dad's ages are wearing fucking Marvel t-shirts and fucking like, oh
Oh
yeah, like
yeah. No. It's always been cool. It's just now it's popular. And I think we have the advent of the MCU to thank for that.
yeah, and it sucks because like I like the MCU, I always have, but then like we get beat over the head with it. It's just
I
like
haven't I haven't watched hardly anything since Endgame. That's pretty much where it ended for me.
I watched the Captain America one, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I liked that. Like there's stuff they put out that I like. Like I like Moon Knight. Um but like there's other stuff like I don't like She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk sucks. We don't need a She-Hulk show.
Dude,
Like
all I've seen is like horrible commentary on She-Hulk. Like I haven't seen a single person that I know that likes that show.
yeah,
Apparently it's
She-Hulk
awful.
blows. They just put out whatever Werewolf at Night is. I don't understand what the fuck this is, or Werewolf by Night. I'm not really sure what that is.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. But let's like if I'm looking at some of the stuff that like the Marvels put out that now that we feel they're beating us over their head, like WandaVision they put out, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought WandaVision was fun. Falcon and Winter Soldier I liked. Loki I even liked. Like so like it's not that these are bad. Like I'm not saying that. It's just like we're getting so many
Yeah.
of them. Like it's just in the same token we're also getting like Shang-Chi. That movie sucked. Eternals. That movie sucked. Um, but then we also get like Moon Knight, which I really fucking liked Moon Knight. I think you should watch Moon Knight.
I might, dude. I'm just so burnt out on superheroes. I don't
Yeah.
know if I even care.
Miss Marvel,
You know?
I don't watch Miss Marvel. I could give a flying fuck about Miss Marvel.
No.
So it's just like I just wish I knew what's the happy medium because like I like that we get Marvel shows. I think it's good. I think it, that like there's stuff that I'm into that I can go watch, but I feel like it's so saturized that like
Dude,
or saturated.
if you limit yourself to one thing a year, I think people can tolerate it, right?
Yeah.
But even then, you're on a downward path. Like that's what Assassin's Creed did for a long time, one thing a year, and eventually everyone's like, all right, well, we're kind of sick of Assassin's Creed,
Well,
you know.
but
And
but
Call of Duty's going down that same route.
yeah, but I feel like even like Star Wars is in the same boat for me. Like remember when the Mandalorian first came out and we were big on the Mandalorian. I still
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen the second season of the Mandalorian, by the way.
Oh, it's really good. You should watch it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but like now I got that to watch. Boba Fett,
Mm-hmm.
Andor, Obi-Wan. Like I'm like fucking god. Like
Well, I mean, also they're not all telling one continuous story like the MCU is. The MCU converges into a giant event once in a while that you have to know what's going on in every corner of it, right? Um, but
yo,
with yeah, what's up?
Seth,
What? What?
Seth, brother Slykehouse.
Can you not hear me?
Well, we lost Seth. I don't know if he's going to get joined back in here, but now that I'm feeling some dead air because I'm here by my lonesome, we're talking about the Star Wars stuff, and he's basically saying that like maybe the Star Wars stuff isn't as saturated as the Marvel stuff that we're getting, but yeah, I just feel like we are getting just beat over the head with some of this stuff, and while it's content I like a Star Wars fan is always going to be a Star Wars fan. So like, when anything new Star Wars comes out, you're going to get excited. Why wouldn't you? Like it's more of what you love. But at what it's getting again too saturated where we're getting too much and we're getting stretched thin because like, that's what I feel like is indicative in the MCU. We have we stretched it to the point where like we're getting random fucking characters getting a big run, like She-Hulk. Like, who gives a flying? No offense to the She-Hulk, but like, who gives a flying fuck about that? Not this guy, not I. So it's just like, how are we supposed to start taking this stuff seriously if we feel like we're just gonna keep just getting it, and every character is gonna get a fucking mini series or a movie? And I just think like not everything needs that kind of attention. Not everything needs um its own main show, like because then you end up running into stuff where if you remember when like Netflix stuff or Marvel started coming out on Netflix, we got The Punisher, we got Daredevil, and then we started getting into the weeds where we got Jessica Jones, which the first season was good, but then the second season we lost some steam, and then Iron Fist sucked, Luke Cage wasn't great, and then the Defenders was a big fat fucking turd. So like you start diluting the product, you start stretching it to produce more profits, and then but you start losing that quality, and I feel like that's eventually starting to happen in the MCU, um, where like again he just said that that She-Hulk isn't well received and people don't really like it. Like I feel like we're gonna start getting more of it as far as like things that are coming out that people don't really like, and that's gonna I think Grant long term that like hurts the brand. I think that when you damage a brand and people don't trust you to produce quality content, um, where do you go from there? So it's just again like we've been saying, it's a tough time in the industry, and it's hard to feel good about it because, like I said, the product's getting diluted. But I enjoy that we're getting more stuff. Like it's fun. So
Yeah, I agree.
just one of those kind of double-edged swords.
Can you hear me
I'm
now,
not
Pedro?
sure what to do here, buddy. So
You
while I'm
can
waiting
still
on
not hear me.
Mr.
Okay.
Slykehouse here,
Fuck.
I don't hear you.
We're recording again.
Okay, we're back.
I stopped recording when I dropped out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. Because I actually there's a bunch of content that you probably just didn't hear then.
No, I could hear you the whole time, but yeah, for some reason I saw the little blip pop up, and I was like, "You lost signal," and then it reconnected immediately. But for some reason, when that happened, you couldn't hear me, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. I was like, "Oh shit!" Fill dead air till he gets back in here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was whatever.
So, what point were you trying to make, sir? We were talking about Star Wars.
No, I was just trying to make the point that you don't have to watch all of Star Wars. You can watch just Obi-Wan or just The Mandalorian, and you're gonna get a story out of it. Like Obi-Wan isn't connected to The Mandalorian really at all, right? But I feel like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there's a timeline there, and it all moves in a linear timeline. The next big movie or whatever it is, where Star Wars, they're jumping all over the place in different timelines, different eras. So I still haven't watched Andor. I don't really have a need to watch Andor. I don't think.
I'll watch it. I mean, whenever I get time, maybe because I have a stretch of time off coming around Christmas, so maybe I'll get into it there. But I don't know. I'm not really like. It's not something that I'm like, oh fuck, gotta watch Andor.
Right. So let's back to video games. What is your gut check on the PSVR 2?
I I don't know because like I want one. Like I've always wanted a VR, but like I just feel like they're like the original PSVR. I felt like was very cumbersome, so I didn't want one because it was kind of like a pain in the ass to have set up. But this new model, I'm interested.
Yeah.
But I've never had an experience with VR where like I've been sold on it. I've always wanted to try the tech though.
For me, I don't trust Sony to support it enough. Like I saw with PSVR 1 how they pretty much completely abandoned it immediately. And I just don't trust them not to do that with PSVR 2 because they have a history of doing that. It's the same thing they did with the Vita, right? They fucking let it out to dry immediately. So I don't know.
Yeah, I want to get one, but I just don't know if I can justify spending the money on it.
Right, and it could be extremely expensive. We don't really know yet.
Yeah, because like that's what's going to be the deal breaker for me, like is price. Like I'm not like I don't want to break the bank to get an experience that like maybe I'm not gonna like because I've only tried VR like once.
Right.
And like there's stuff I want to try, like that Darth Vader game you were playing seems sweet.
Oh yeah, a long time ago. It is sweet.
Yeah, like I want to play that, and like maybe if Half-Life Alyx is on it, and like I think there's some intriguing experiences on it that like for me would be worthwhile. But again, like I don't want to invest like a shit ton of money into this and then just get killed on it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can tell you that like with my Quest 2, it's really cool, but I still never play it.
Yeah, because like what's there to like what's the killer app to play on it besides like Half-Life?
That's the thing. They always said with VR that it wasn't just going to be an experience machine, right? But there's very few quote unquote games that you get that are more than 3 or 4 hours long. There really isn't a whole lot. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Beat Saber's like still the only really valuable game I feel like in the library.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's not good because like I thought there were games that had potential. Like when I saw Resident Evil was VR, I thought like that makes sense. So like, I think there was a first person shooter called Farpoint that I thought like seemed cool, but I never played it. But it just like there's no real killer app, and that's like maybe that's when Killzone can make a comeback. Not that I want a fucking Killzone VR game, but I feel like that would make sense. That or Resistance,
Right.
like give Give me a good narrative based game that is in VR. Give me that,
Right.
and then maybe we'll talk. But yeah, I'm not. I'm very. I wouldn't even say lukewarm. I'm like. I would say just warm. Like I would just. I'm like. I don't know. Like I'm not really into
Well,
it.
I'm pretty sure lukewarm is colder than warm. Like
Is it?
warm, yeah. Lukewarm is like room temperature.
Okay, then maybe
My
I'm less than room
understanding.
temperature. Maybe I'm borderline. Just I don't know. I'm very on the fence about it.
Yeah.
What are your would what would you feel like has to happen for them to support it? Like, what do you think? There's a reason like they're just like notorious for this?
I just think that Sony is a company. It seems like a Japanese problem, honestly, like a Japanese culture problem, where they just give up on things very quickly if it's not immediately making a profit. Because like
Yeah.
other Japanese companies like Konami and Capcom and shit, they do the same thing, or they'll make
Mm,
terrible decisions with their properties and people won't buy it or they don't like it, and they'll be like, "Look, see, not a good property, abandon it." Like look at Mega Man, you know. Like they treated
hashtag
Mega Man
Babylon's fall.
awful. They treated they treated Mega Man awful for years, and then they're like, "Well, people aren't buying these games. They must not want this thing." And
All
it's like,
right,
"Well,
kill
no,
it.
you're just doing the wrong things with it. That's the other side, you know. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
been that way forever. That's why I
I just
feel Square treated Final Fantasy for a long time. Which, by the way,
yeah.
I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VI greatly.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it. What the, like
I just I've been playing it on my Steam Link at
I like
work
that.
or whenever I get the chance, and I'm just having a blast. See, I wouldn't be playing it on Steam Link, but the Android version, for whatever reason, has no controller support.
What?
Yeah, it's only touch controls.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, which is like classic Square Enix decision.
I feel
Why
like
wouldn't
there's
you have touch
somebody
controls?
fucking whoever ported that. Like, what made you come to that decision? Like, I would love an explanation as to why. Like, you thought that like, you know what I mean? Like, what reasoning do you have?
Well, like the weirdest thing too is that the Steam version has controller support. So what's going on here? Because
Yeah, I
it's a direct port. It's not like they did any work. It's just
right.
it's like the actively disabled controller support on the Android version. I don't know what's going on with it.
I don't know,
I don't
man.
like it.
Sometimes game developers make like baffling decisions. Sometimes like I feel like when you fill a room full of smart people or people who are supposed to be smart, really dumb shit happens.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I feel like there should be like one like on every dev team there should be just one guy who's strictly his job is common sense. Like that's it. That's all he's there for.
Yeah,
He doesn't have a degree. He doesn't have a any sort of like special education. Like he's just a guy. Like he's just a fucking guy.
he's like a blue
Pay
collar guy.
him 75 grand a year, so he's happy.
Yeah,
Or whatever is a livable wage by the time this happens. Just make him a guy. Every dev team has a guy to be like, what the fuck? Like what? Hold on.
Square Enix needs that guy more than anybody else.
They need that guy like in every room. Like they need that guy
Yeah.
in every meeting. Like there at least one guy to be like, what? Like hold on. Like what? So you're gonna put out a Final Fantasy game that's a Souls game, and it's gonna be based off Final Fantasy one that doesn't have yes, no.
Dude,
Like
it's almost like Square Enix has a curse,
yeah,
and it's a curse that like a certain amount of people at Square have to make stupid decisions, so they all contain them to different teams,
yes.
and they protect their like vital stuff, like Final
Mhm.
Fantasy 16 or 14. They protect them
Yes.
from the people making but they have the curse. That's what it seems like.
Yes. Yeah, because I feel like for every like brilliant thing they've put out, like they also put out like a very questionable thing.
Yes.
Where you're like, what? Like, so Square Enix like is the same publisher that gave us Final Fantasy. They also gave us The Quiet Man. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
You ever played The Quiet Man?
No, chose
Neither
not
have I, but I have it. But I'm just like, what? Sometimes like I don't understand like what happens in companies. But yeah, like I said, let's advocate for every company. You get one guy on your board, be like, hey, I'm the common sense guy. Like, let's talk some sense here, and let's see what result
I agree.
it produces.
I agree.
Ah, man. So I feel like that's been a good show, buddy. I feel like
I
we
feel like so.
touched on
I
all
think
the good stuff. I got a lot off my chest as far as with the games industry. I've been holding that in. So
good.
yeah, I
I'm
needed to
glad
get that off my chest because the game industry sucks.
it does. Sometimes you just need to rant, get it out of your
Yes.
system, especially with
Yes.
this industry.
Exactly. I agree. So, been a good show. Again, if those of you listening, please give us a subscription on YouTube. Give us a like on the Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at alpha_nerds_prime. Because again, Alpha Nerds was taken by some asshole, but we're the real deal here. So, give us a follow there. And remember, when in doubt, square up, throw down, my friends.
Take care, everybody.